Now.
Okay, welcome everyone to our Unlimited Network Mastermind, something that we do every Saturday at 10 a.m. We get together here to master our minds. And at this time we are studying the book of Catherine Ponder, The Dynamics Laws of Prosperity, to really understand how prosperity consciousness thinks and works and moves and supporting us to wake up that consciousness that we already are. So it's not a matter of having to make it, but just to relax and to allow this kind of deep understanding and start to allow all what we want to experience in our lives to come, to attract that. And I just want to say thank you for all of you for being here and taking the time to grow, because this mastermind is dedicated to what I call conscious entrepreneurs, meaning that the ones that already know that, it's not about struggle and having to make it and, this kind of egoic sense that I did, in the sense it's more about allowing things to come naturally and to really master, to become the master creators that we are. So for me, a conscious entrepreneur is the one that is willing to bring awareness and consciousness to our behaviors and to engage with our visions, our success in business, from a place of open heart and knowing the laws. So that's what we are studying here all together. And we are going to jump right there because the chapter is very powerful today. We are going to study the chapter that is called What About Indebtedness, chapter 17. And we are also almost at the end of this book, so we need to start to think about what is going to be our next book here. But I think I would like to do this chapter today. Then we have one more, and then to dedicate one more day to revise, what we have done with Catherine Ponder, because truly her language is so powerful, and to integrate all what she's saying here can help us a lot to make peace with our dreams, with our right to have it all, etc. So it's very, very beautiful. And I think nothing else today, Dr. Frank. If you are ready, I know it's short, but I also know that the chapter is kind of long. So I would love to welcome you, Dr. Frank, in gratitude for supporting all of us to deepening in this understanding today to talk about debt, and how we can liberate if we are in debt, if some of you are in debt or something like that. So let's go for it. Remember to mute your microphone if you are not muted yet, so we don't have background. And welcome, Dr. Fran.
Well, good morning, everyone. And this was a really fascinating chapter to read and to incorporate, and very important because debt is a heavily charged state of mind in our existence. And so I really had a lot of fun reading this and understanding some of the things that we've done successfully in the last years to control and minimize and actually look at debt in the right frame of mind. So it is a nice long chapter, but I think I've encapsulated it to make it doable within our time frame. So look, what about indebtedness? In this age when credit is at an all-time high, what about indebtedness with regard to prosperous thinking? Credit, widely used, is a rich asset to financial success. Credit that is abused or overused is a clear path to indebtedness and financial failure. Credit is not desirable if used in desperation to postpone financial disaster a little longer. Neither is it good if used for acquiring items which you cannot pay for without great mental anguish. Credit is intended to be used intelligently toward helping one enjoy the comforts of life in a reasonable manner. Credit may also be used intelligently in realizing a profit. A good rule to follow in order to avoid the pitfalls of misused credit is this: do not incur bills that burden you with the feeling of lack and limitation. You may incur reasonable financial obligations if you can do so with an easy mind, in the faith that you can meet them in a reasonable manner. No debt is good if you resent or fear it, because such an attitude causes it to become a burden. The thought of burden often stops the flow of substance into your affairs, as well as hindering the flow of new prosperous ideas in your thinking. When the flow of substance is halted in either of these ways, you are then unable to meet your bills, and panic and resentment take over. So long as you do not resent or fear financial obligations, you can maintain mental and emotional control over them in your thoughts, feelings, and reactions. When you maintain a feeling of control, not feeling helplessly bound to debt, you keep the way open for the rich substance of the universe to flow to you in expected and unexpected ways, making it possible for you to meet each obligation. It is axiomatic that if you look up, you will always be provided for. Surely, uplifted thinking, free from fear, resentment, and condemnation, is necessary in order to maintain a debt-free existence. When the bills come due, greet them in an unruffled frame of mind, reminding yourself that they represent blessings that you already enjoyed. A negative, critical attitude towards bills causes many people to get into debt and to stay there. I know a family that constantly fumed over their monthly bills, and their bills continued to mount. They began to affirm, "We use the prosperous power of divine intelligence in wisdom, integrity, and good judgment in all our financial affairs. We give thanks for every financial obligation is paid on time." Thereafter, their bills decreased to a reasonable size again. It is not only unpleasant and unnecessary, but foolish and dangerous to waste time and energy criticizing anything, especially financial obligations owed or owing you. Such a negative practice can lead to permanent indebtedness and even to utter financial ruin. If you are not willing to give of the substance that comes to you to pay your bills, why should you reasonably expect the rich substance of the universe to flow easily into your life? An ungrateful attitude of mind brings ungrateful, limited financial results. The attitude of gratitude keeps prosperity coming to you from every direction. The technique of getting debts paid, both those you owe and those owed to you, is first an inner work in the realm of mental attitudes. How about that? Others are so repelled by your critical, unforgiving, condemnatory thoughts that they shrink from wanting to pay you what is owed. As you change your thinking about them, they subconsciously feel it and respond in a more positive way. Instead of fretting about your own debts and those owed by others, sit down and boldly list those obligations on paper. Then go a step further and dare to write out dates by which you wish to see them fully paid. Next, write this affirmation at the bottom of your list and use it daily. I give thanks for the immediate, complete payment of all financial obligation. I have faith that with God's help, all obligations are being immediately paid in full. Here's a pleasant point to remember about indebtedness. If you are in debt, it is because someone believed in you and had enough faith in you to trust you financially. If others are in debt to you, it is because you extended your trust to them. Trust is a wonderful divine element, and it produces divine results when activated. Whenever you think of owing or being owed, give thanks for the trust that brought about the financial transaction in the first place. Know also that that same trust which worked in the beginning can still work to bring forth the full payment due. Reestablish this attitude by affirming, the same divine trust that first motivated this financial transaction is now mightily at work, clearing it up for the highest good of all concerned. A harmonious, trustful state of mind is essential to gain freedom from indebtedness and for collecting debts owed you by others. You will note on every hand that inharmonious people work very hard for their prosperity. The substance of the universe is repelled by inharmoniousness and quickly dissipates in such an atmosphere. Indebtedness may appear to be very big in your world, but it need only be a temporary situation if you dare to begin believing there is a way out. Perhaps one of the greatest barriers to freedom comes from indebtedness. Perhaps one of the greatest barriers to freedom from indebtedness is fear and desperation. When they are overcome, you are on your way to financial freedom. Many people who get into debt would not maintain in it if they would keep quiet about their financial affairs. By magnifying their obligations, they clutch those circumstances to them ever more tightly. If they keep quiet, keep going, do the best they can to meet their obligations, and affirm divine guidance, the way would open to clear up all indebtedness. Instead of worrying, fretting, or talking about your debts, it pays to affirm prosperous results and to speak only in prosperous terms. Everything and everybody prospers us now, and we prosper everything and everybody now. Many people also get into financial lack and remain there because they think someone else is keeping their prosperity from them. As long as they think someone else has that power, they themselves are decreeing that it is true. But once they change the trend of their thinking, their good can appear in spite of any outer circumstances. You can never think too big. Dare to think big. Dare to affirm big ideas. Dare to expect big results. Such attitudes are the difference between a prince and a pauper. Along with getting prosperous attitudes about our financial affairs, it is good to do whatever tangible or intangible thing you can to get the feeling that you are clearing up indebtedness. For instance, just begin paying cash for items, though you may do so in a small way. Just by releasing cash for such items rather than by charging them, you begin to get a sense of freedom from debt. Another financial attitude that binds many people to indebtedness is this. Like Lot's wife, they continue to look back. They worry about financial mistakes of the past and thus crystallize their thinking, which manifests as present indebtedness. When you look back, there is no room in your thinking for new ideas which could clear up past mistakes and indebtedness. To forgive yourself and others of past mistakes is essential if you wish to be permanently free of financial burden. The forgiving love of divine intelligence has set me free from the past and from the financial mistakes of the past. I now face the present and the future, wise, secure, and unafraid. It will work wonders for you and for others. Along with establishing prosperous attitudes and following through with prosperous actions, one should ask for prosperous ideas about financial matters. A good statement to hold in mind for this purpose is, divine intelligence now inspires me with prosperous ideas and with divine action in perfectly expressing these ideas. Indebtedness can be a tremendous blessing in disguise. When unpleasant experiences come upon you, it is often because there are new ways of living and new methods of work trying to open up to you. In most instances of indebtedness, those who are financially embarrassed are very fine people who are trying to live prosperously on a limited income. However, if they have rich desires, it is because they also have rich talents and abilities that are seeking expression. Their desire for richer good is very strong, but their bank account has not been equally expanded. Often they are people who are doing a mediocre work when their talents and abilities, if developed, would bring them a rich income to balance out their rich desires. Dare to use new ideas that come to you when you are working out financial problems. Reread, study, and follow some of the suggestions for developing your talents and abilities that are given in the chapters on work and on financial independence. When you are trying to find your financial freedom, begin to bring it forth by declaring often, there are good days ahead. There are rich days ahead. When fear about present problems seems to engulf you, remind yourself, God's way for me is joyous, a way of safety and security. I give thanks now. I walk in paths of pleasantness, prosperity, and peace. For the development of your talents and abilities to bring great satisfaction, declare often, the boundless, limitless power that created the universe is now accomplishing in and through me all that is for my highest good in mind, body, and affairs. I give thanks that I am divinely equipped to accomplish great things with ease. Wow. Well, very fascinating. And if you'll permit me, I'll just give a couple of a quick synopsis before I, at the end of the call, give some thoughts. You know, I've talked a number of times on the call here as we've been going through this book about how I'm currently applying these principles in my life and the results. And when I look back over my life, there have been many times when I have been hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. And never gave it a thought because I was actually now, in retrospect, following exactly the principles outlined in this chapter, and that is, it is beneficial to use debt and credit when you are establishing and creating financial gain from it. And that's exactly what I did. I mean, the lifestyle that we had today is because I had the willingness to accept debt, and institutions had the willingness to extend credit to me. And so the lifestyle that I enjoy today is exactly that. There have been 2 instances in my life where I was completely debt-free. And it was very interesting to note that when those situations occurred, I found ways to lose large amounts of money quickly. And rapidly reestablished that hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. And that brings us fast forward to today because, you know, for the last, now 7 years, we have been burdened with this $400,000 in debt again. It seems to be a magic number in my constellation universe here. And so about a year ago, I started to really deliberately focus on eradicating that debt. And I sit here today with the reality that within the next 4 weeks, the very last $50,000 of that $400,000 in debt will be eradicated. And in the face of that, we have more cash in the bank right now than we've had for the last 5 years. So, you know, folks,
but be sure to not lose that money. You can give some of it to me.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, it really proves. You know, I've talked a lot about the fact that we literally live our dual nature existence completely subject to all the physical laws and the spiritual laws that govern our lives. And many of us, of course, by indoctrination, have been focused strictly on making sure that we adhere to the physical laws of the universe and not been aware of or properly applying the spiritual laws of the universe. And, you know, we know, all of us on this call, especially our mastermind group, we constantly see reaffirmation of the fact that when we stop, study, learn, understand, and apply the spiritual laws, the miracles happen in our life. Back to you, Monica.
Thank you, Doc Fran. Wow, that was quick. We have a lot of time to discuss here. I love it. So, well, to me, you know, it's kind of I love to hear experiences, you know. So I'm feeling a lot of compassion because I went through a time in my life where really the idea of credit, you know, using credit cards and to go beyond where you are at that moment was not. I was not engaging with that from a place of being conscious about financial energy and about how energy really works. So I went to that, you know, was so interesting to me, and then really touch, you know, the place of being feeling like a burden, you know, this charge and blah blah. So I just would like to open our hearts, you know, to be very compassionate with our unconscious mind that is really holding on, and is unconscious. So we are making it conscious. That's the way that we can liberate it, you know. But in this unconscious retainment of resentment, of fear at the end that she was saying on the book here, you know, to be very aware that, you know, a debt that is not an investment, in quotes, you know, I can understand today much better than, you know, 10 years ago, how I can, you know, come into debt that I will call investment, because I know, you know, that that money is working for me instead of really, you know, getting on my back and having to carry that heaviness. But that came from facing resentment and fear, you know, about money, and guilt, you know, about it. So I would love if just to open the space for the ones that we were or you are today, you know, in debt, to really be gentle and to focus on, I would say, to really face these shadows, dragons, you know, that are on the first place the cause of us being in limitations. And I love to hear this chapter in the sense, of course, when you have the space, when you clear up some unconscious material here, you will have more and more space to apply these beautiful prayers, and I will share with you at the end, you know, some tricky things that I love about, for me, that helps me to circulate the money, you know, instead of spending it and being afraid of losing it. All that stuff is changing a lot. And I love it, you know. So be very gentle. I don't know, if I would love to hear all of you here and to support each other, to understand that debt is a path, from my perspective, a path of embracement. Is pushing you to go deeper in you, you know, to check what is your relationship with yourself, with money. If there is any kind of guilty here, you know, to really dedicate time to that until you open the space and release that, you know, embrace, release, so we can think differently, because it's not so easy to master our minds when there is a lot of unconscious materials, you know, pushing towards light for being seen, that is speaking a completely different language, you know, that instead of everything is possible, who you think you are, you know, for example. So I don't know, I would love to open the mastermind here to hear other people. Maybe more inspiration can come here to support us, to understand, you know, that debt is not something, the burden debt, okay, is not something that is in alignment, if you want, with this consciousness of abundance, you know, and prosperity. So let's see what we have to say here. Yes, Arne, I can see you open. Welcome.
Well, thank you. I'm sure that all of us have a lot to say about this. It's an interesting topic for me. I remember being a teenager and kids, you know, and traveling all around the world, never thinking about tomorrow, and living like a king, and everything was taken care of, and never have a second thought, and it always worked out very, very wonderfully. And being here in Costa Rica, I see a lot of kids like I was, and they are, you know, 18, 20, 25, and they live like that, and it still works, and they don't have a worry of the day, and they have everything they want. So it's interesting um, on the they're not exactly living in debt, but they're not living in worries. And then in my life, the period after that, I got into wanting to do a lot of personal growth studies. One of them was to move to America.
We lost your sound there, Arnie. Oh.
Well, Candace, why don't you
They would take a little break.
why don't you share with us while we're waiting for Arnie's internet to reconnect?
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Are you talking to me?
I'm talking to you, Candace.
You know, these affirmations in this particular chapter have been very potent for me. I love the highest and best in all people, and I now draw the highest and best and most prosperous-minded people to me. What a powerful thing for what we're doing, business-wise, but also just in life. The highest and best in all people. Isn't that that's what I want to see in myself. I want to see it in others. So I love this particular affirmation. And trusting the higher good, too. There's a divine solution to this situation. The divine solution is the sublime solution. I give thanks that the divine solution quickly appears now. So there's trust. There's knowing that there's something bigger than I am going on, and it's happening. I can have faith in that. I like that. I can carry forward knowing that it's covered. Everything and everybody prospers me now, and I prosper everything and everybody now. I found myself driving down the road saying this one. Everything, everybody prospers us now, prospers me now. And I'm prospering all of them. Just really, just by my love and by my attitude. And one that was particularly helpful for me with my own, with the story of my life circumstances, this one has really turned around some sort of deeply lodged thinking in me, and I'm so grateful for it. There is no criticism or condemnation in me, for me, or against me. Divine love, wisdom, and order now reveal the perfect guidance and produce perfect results in me and my world. No criticism, no condemnation. That's helping me halt certain thoughts of, oh, this person did that or did the other. Oh, it's just really been very, very helpful, very healing. And another one I particularly love was that first one in this chapter is we use the prosperous power of divine intelligence in wisdom, integrity, and good judgment in all of our financial affairs. Now that develops trust in myself. And we give thanks for every financial obligation is paid on time. What a relief. It's kind of off my shoulders, and yet I carry forth, I still do my action. But I'm just a participant in bigger deal. The bigger deal is that's the sublime solution. Anyway, those are my thoughts for this week. It's been an important chapter for me. Coming to a good attitude about indebtedness so that we can use it as a tool. It's a tool that, Dr. Fran, you were talking about being in and out of debt. Sometimes it really helps you get somewhere. And then you turn around and pay it back. It's wonderful. So, anyway, love you all.
Thank you, Candace. Beautiful, beautiful. And yes, to apply it, like it's really a matter of keeping supporting ourselves on that understanding. So thank you so much. Arne, we were cut off just there in the middle, so if you want to continue.
Yeah, and thank you, Candace, for picking up where we got cut off the jungle telegraph.
Happy to.
So, yeah, so I was, I think you heard I said I was just about moving from Sweden to the U.S., and I needed a lot of money to do the study that I needed, that I wanted to do. It was way, 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 way beyond anything I've ever seen as far as money goes. But I was committed. I was going to go. And I guess I was young compared to now anyway. So I didn't have any thoughts like, that's not possible. It's just going to happen. Some people say, well, how are you going to make it no question. There was no doubt in me. And eventually I got a debt, a loan to do it. I got the money to do it. It came out of the blue. And I went to America and lived there now 30 years. And I've many of those years very successful financially, but the way the success has been is to not Monica's liking, that I spent a lot of money and I paid with credit card. We went and did everything. We paid everything, credit card, and every month I paid the bill. Every month, at least 10 years, like every single month, the complete bill was paid. And off I went and spent all the money again, and next month I paid the bill. And it was like that's not the way it's supposed to go. But I had at that moment no second thought that that wouldn't work. Later on I did, but at that point, for at least 10 years, there was no doubt in it, and it worked. And it was big numbers that I was using there. And then I got into no, I would like to have the money ahead of time. And then my finances went downhill, and I had much more problem with that, with my finances. So it's a tricky balance between the trust and the debt, and I would like to have the trust and not and pay ahead of time. And actually, at this moment, it just automatically, I've started to pay some things with cash, which is a huge step for me. And I noticed that some reason that I paid with credit card made it feel safe for me that I had some cash in my pocket and paid with a credit card. But now, like Catherine Ponder says, paying with cash starts to open up that door to feeling more prosperous, and I start to feel that. I like to push some buttons here, and that is, some of us have a lot of good affirmations and thoughts, and if you ask, according to the book here, the best thoughts. We are living in these perfect affirmations, and still we're broke. So there must be something more to the story than just having the good thoughts. That maybe there is trust. Maybe we're not taking care of ourselves enough. Maybe we need to be a little bit more egotistic, which is maybe against what we learn in this book. We should be so generous, we should be so open-minded to God and trust God. Maybe if that doesn't work, maybe we need to go the other way around and see that maybe I'm actually too much the other direction, and I need to go the other way. I need to become a selfish person, especially when it comes to money. And if you want to use the word hoarding, I need to start to hoard money and challenge my own judgment against hoarders, against all those things that, the bad things that money can make for the people who have it. We gotta make sure we give to the poor before we have ourselves, and whatever the thoughts are. But I'm challenging each and every person who doesn't have the money enough that they want to have, and they are obviously proving that they have the best mindset that anybody can have, and they still don't have the money. That maybe they need to go against that grain. So that's my challenge to the group.
Thank you, Arne. Yes, buttons here. Woo-hoo. But I love what you said, in the sense that it's so true. I mean, personally, I have to say that I felt touched, you know, when she talked a little bit about the resentment, you know, like to me, I mean, abundance and prosperity is our birthright. So if we are not experiencing that today, and you know, the beauty about financial situation here is that you face it. You open your bank and say, my gosh, is this flowing? Or I am comfortable with this, I will call, instead of debt, you know, investment or loan that, you know, the entity trust to gave me or something like that. If I sleep well, I'm comfortable, whatever, no problem, you know. But if you don't reflect that prosperity out that happened on my own bank, let's say, that shows something to me. It's like, this is so mirror, you know. So I found, you know, like when I decided to be financially free, that I really hit, you know, the unconscious material here, I really found that I had a lot of resentment with money, you know, inside, you know, from my childhood, and even from investing money to create a business that I was in love to, it didn't work. And we invest a lot of money on that one, and I always, you know, felt like, gosh, shit, you know, it's like, and that, you know, is not an opening, relaxing, allowing the flow here. That is something that I needed to embrace and to forgive and to release. So I echo what you said, Arne, in the sense of take the time to go inside and to be honest, you know, with yourself. To me, that's what I keep doing here. You know, now I sense much more how good it feels, okay, to circulate the money, to move the money there, to allow to know myself enough that I know how much I can, you know, use the credit card or not. I mean, to be conscious of what we do. And resentment for me was very huge when I realized that, you know, even though I was really positive and all my thinking, like exactly what you said, Arne. And it's funny because my prayers, something was not open in the space. And that's something, like she said in the book here, is related with
Celio, would you like to contribute to our conversation here in Monica's absence?
Okay.
There's Monica. Okay.
Did you started something?
No.
Okay, but just to complete is what I wanted to highlight here, you know, the importance of forgiveness in this case, to really face yourself, face realize that has to have something unconsciously there, pushing the buttons, you know, and stopping the flow, you know. So thank you for pushing the buttons, Arne. Celio, welcome. Here we go.
Monica, you said the right expression, pushing the buttons. This is this chapter, I find, you know, it's very confronting in a positive way. It's like there's a face with debt, with money, with energies. You know, we have to really put up front, like Dr. Fran, thank you so much that, you know, you made it, you know, an amount, a figure of you know, very clear, and the amounts and how, and to everybody, to Arne, to your understanding and of, you know, what it means to hoard, and is it so bad as it's supposed to be, or maybe it's not so bad, and Candice, you know, bring these phrases that are almost the same that I also, you know, underwrote, because they're incredible. I have another one that Dr. Fran didn't read that for me is extremely powerful. And then, Monica, to what you're saying, you know, it's very confronting in the sense that we're facing to the energy of money. So for me, it's going beyond debt. Is what is my real understand of that energy called money. If I'm clear about that, if I have forgiven even myself, and she talks about that, forgive, dismiss your financial mistakes of the past. Because then it's like, oh my God, and then this is going to happen again, this situation, and I'm going to be, you know, with the banks and the loans and whatever. And to me, this is the thing that, like you said the other day, Dr. Fran, is like fear and love. If I switch from fear to love, then I'm saved. Then the debt becomes something I can manage, and then, you know, I can become wealthy, you know, regardless of the amount that I have in the bank. But I'm going to be wealthy from, you know, from an inner point of view, and this is what I want. And what you said, Arne, I just loved, because I was with a person this week in a business situation that was exactly the opposite to what you were saying. That person, you know, had all the wrong vibrations, but he had a lot of money. And we even started a conversation with 3 people, and I wanted, you know, to put that you know, the subject, you know, the conversation of these people that I know they have millions, you know, do they really understand what is the energy that those millions represent? And one of them definitely doesn't. And to me, the challenge in that moment was, well, I can judge that person. I can also put myself in a victim situation of, oh my God, I am in the hands of people with this consciousness, or I can get my power. And this is what Catherine is, you know, I love this chapter because debt, I have studied debt from many authors, and I just was looking forward to Catherine Ponder's point of view. And for me, this is extremely powerful when she says that we have to give away the power from other people or situations about our debt or whatever, and saying, I dissolve in my own mind and in the minds of all others any idea that my God-given good can be withheld from me. Those financial blessings that are mine by divine right now come to me in abundance, and I joyously accept them, no matter what, no matter who. If this person that I was 3 days ago was a multimillionaire, but he has no idea what the energy is about, money, you know what I mean? And I'm not here like you know, like a monk. I'm going to convert him to this new religion of the understanding of what money is, because I feel at some point that not my role, not to get into a religion, but I really feel so important, you know, and I find it's our mission in this mastermind as a group to convey that energy to a people, to have, maybe they have millions, maybe they have a lot of money, but they're not rich. They're so poor because they're victims of that. And even this person, I said as a joke, what would you do with 10 million euros in this moment, or $1 million? And that person said, no, I wouldn't want that. I said, this is not very coherent, because this person is all the time with the phone and making businesses. You know what I mean? So people, they have no idea. They really have no clue. Most people in the real world, so-called, about this energy, you know, and they can be in debt or in not debt or whatever, but they have no clue, and that energy is not going to bring them to wealth. And I don't know if this person is going to keep those millions, and I'm going to, you know, it's not that exactly I'm in debt right now, but I'm in a situation that is, you know, it's a bit complicated from one point of view, but in another point of view, I see that it's the perfect situation for me to transcend and to, you know, and to become really wealthy, because I was wealthy from inheritance, but now I have the chance in these masterminds, in my learning, in my deep understanding, to really become wealthy from an inner point of view. And that's what I want. And then I'm sure the bank account, the credit, is going to be in accordance, because there's not going to be any fear. It's going to be a lot of trust, a lot of awareness, and it's going to be, and it's okay. It's already, it's not going to be okay. It's already okay. I'm not afraid of credit, because I know that now I can use it. Like Dr. Fran, you were saying, how incredible. I really congratulate you. In 3 months, that's it. But it's great. And then maybe you can get another, you know, whatever amount, because, you know, we're in that consciousness. We're in that clarity. So the problem is not the debt or the credit. The problem was in ourselves. And I think after this book, it's not going to be a problem anymore. It's the opposite. You know, we are ready. I am ready. I know all of us in this group, we're ready to handle millions. That's the end of the meeting that I had with these people 3 days ago in the real world. They really are multimillionaires, but we didn't finish the conversation. And then I'm finishing it with you guys now. We are ready to handle the amounts, because, you know, from a consciousness point of view, an energetic point of view, you know, it's okay. We're cleared. We're clean. So it's like the universe with Catherine Ponder and all the work we're doing. And I think these masterminds are going to last for a long time, we are ready. We don't have to be afraid. It's just like, it's great to have that possibility and bring to the world the energy and whatever we are supposed to do in our, mission, vision, or whatever. And to me, because I was like, my God, so confronting, such a contrast. No, like Candice, like you were saying, divine restoration. This is what's happening with all of us, divine restoration. So what else can I desire? There's no person that has more power. Not even the person that I can think in this moment really has the power. No, this being, it's not like that. That person, that situation doesn't have the power, because I can really use this affirmation that I just read, not by reading it, but by, incorporating it, integrating it, and maybe reading it like many times a day. What I do with these chapters, I just keep, the lines, and I keep reading them before the meetings or whatever. It's so practical. So I just love it, and I'm so thankful to all of us. I think this is such a great group. I just can't wait for the next book. But like you were saying, Monica, the next is health, and the next is integration, and this is a lot. And we can prove it every week in our business and personal situations and debt situations. This is what happened to me this last week. Was extremely confronting, was extremely intense, and the contrast was the extreme. But here I am, and it's great. I have this feeling. I don't know if I have overcome all the debts and the deal's gonna be as expected or not, but the way I feel about it is great. And that's what counts for me right now. Okay.
Monica, your web is off. We can't hear your microphone. You're muted.
What about now?
Now, okay, now you're good.
Here. Now, is that okay?
Yes, perfect.
Great, thank you, Dr. Frank. I just want to say thank you, Celio. I mean, you are so passionate, contagious, and empowering. I love it. And I think you said something very interesting for me at this moment, and it's about the conditioning of richness. Like you were wealthy by heritage, or these people that you are talking right now, they are rich people, they have a lot of money, but they are not wealthy because they are not conscious. So I do want to distinguish, how just the mental conditioning is not enough. You can be very rich mentally, let's say, because you grew up in that rich family, but you don't have your heart open, you are not whole yet. So there is something that at one point is going to fail there, because you are not in alignment. So not only I think we need to copy the mental thinking of rich people that I think is very beautiful and empowering, and of course, like abundant and prosperous, but at the same time to be in alignment inside, like to be conscious, like to me, I had a lot of money in my past when I was a dentist, but I didn't have any idea. I was not conscious, for sure not. But more than that, is like was, never was really pleasant to look in the bank, and no, unconscious completely. So as soon as I claim consciousness, as soon as I claim I want to wake up spiritually, the energy of money is asking me to face it, say, hey, what do you have projected there, Are you treating me with love, appreciation, respect, delicacy, like to really take care of me, or you don't give a shit about me? And that's what you get back, So I really want to support all of us to clean up our internal world here, understanding that our financial situation is showing whatever is your situation, but let's say that is limited, is just showing that you are identified with a limited consciousness, with a separated consciousness, with a fearful consciousness, and that is the path, and it's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with it. That is the path to bring light to it, and to start to let that go, and to be in alignment with source, So alignment, it is love. So how much do you love money? You know, love not as a God that is a source outside, but love, money, is coming from your own heart. You know that is God, is an expression of God. There is nothing else than that in this world, you know. So I love, Celio, what you were saying, and the distinction, you know, between conscious rich people and unconscious rich people. And if you know, consciousness is awakening, so some shaking is going to happen sooner or later. And us, I would say, you know, we already are shaked, you know, so we are just progressing right now and integrating.
All right. Your connection just dropped again, Monica. So what I'd like to do until Monica comes back on, what a powerful, unbelievable mastermind this was for me and for all of us on the call here this morning. And you know, you can tell when something truly penetrates through and an individual experiences a true influx of consciousness. And it's evident in Celio's monologue and soliloquy there, and the enthusiasm and excitement as all of these new ideas were being crystallized in his consciousness, and he suddenly understood the entirety of his recent experience from an entirely new positive perspective. There's nothing more exciting than that. Rehabilitating knowingness is the most thrilling experience we can all have as spiritual beings. So Celio, thank you. I was grinning from ear to ear throughout the entirety of your conversation because it was just so wonderful to see, feel, understand, and share your conscious expansion there. I want to just take a few minutes, and Arnie, you raised so many wonderful points in your soliloquy this morning, and you hit some really important concepts related to credit in number one. So I want to talk about that. The intelligent use of credit and credit cards in particular is tantamount, and you know, the key is just what you said, and that is, you can do every purchase on credit cards because, man, it is great for record keeping. And the secret of my financial success is the fact that Nancy is such an incredible money manager and record keeper. And she has really worked the magic over the last 45 years to take the resources that we've created together and consistently manage them in a way which has kept us afloat even in the darkest of times. And so I'm amazed at how she has done that. I'm eternally blessed and grateful that she has done that. But one of the keys that we have, because of the record keeping requirements for our IRS and taxes, etc., is she's a meticulous record keeper. And what we do is we do virtually charge everything that we spend and use the credit card and pay it off in full every month. And so that brings me to a second point that Arnie raised, and that is, you know, the idea of hoarding or using, spending your savings, basically. We're all taught that we need to have so much money in the bank, blah, 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 blah. Well, you know, even if you spend more than your total cash inflow from the month before, that's why we have reserves. And here's where the mental attitude comes in. If you get to the end of the month and you have a credit card bill larger than normal or larger than you're comfortable in one part of your mind paying at the same time, even though you have the resources in your savings account to do that, then the proper course of action, I think we can all see from our training today, is pay it off. Use the money in your savings account to make up the deficit from your income that month to the obligations that you incurred, and keep yourself on a debt-free monthly balance. And why is that important? Well, we all learned that nature abhors a vacuum, and we learned specifically through Catherine the law of vacuum as applied to your financial affairs. And I love that chapter, I think it was 10 or 12, where instead of looking at money that we spend as losing resources, look at it as creating space for the influx of 10 times the resource that we just expended. And it's literally the case, because the only time I have ever slowed down my incomes in life is when we consciously shut off our spending and became worried about depleting our resources. And it is a complete affront to ourselves, to God as our source, and to the reality that we live in a constantly expanding, abundant universe. And the only way you ever stop your flows is when you consciously stop a flow. And everything stops with that decision. It's absolutely incredible, but look back over your lives and see if it doesn't apply exactly to situations in your life that you can think about. So the last thing, Arnie, you raised a really seriously important point, particularly for those of us that are involved in relationship marketing, network building, etc. And inevitably, there is a great deal of guilt associated with actually being successful in people's minds. And, we all have big hearts and we all want our teams to prosper and succeed. And so we may inhibit our own growth subconsciously or deliberately in order to, try and create an abundance for someone in our team. And it took me a long time to understand that that is a really counterproductive mindset and approach. Because let me ask you a question that will probably set the entirety of the mindset for the rest of my comments. Can you do more good for yourself and for the world when you have more money or less money at your disposal? Well, I think the answer is quite clear to all of us. We can all do more with more. And so the exact thing applies when you're developing an organization. Your organization, I've learned over time, actually wants you to be that prosperous point person. They want to aspire to what you are manifesting and creating and have. And if you willingly limit your own expansion, not only do you cheat yourself, but you are literally holding your whole organization down from achieving their goals. We all know the idea that, shoot for the moon or shoot for the stars, and the worst you can do is land on a moon. Well, shoot for big ideas, shoot for excellence, and or shoot for perfection. And the worst you can do is land on excellence. Well, the same thing is true. When you make yourself 10 feet tall and bulletproof, both in reality and in your mindset, by your example to your team, you have created the spiritual force for duplication within your team. And you have also created a positive source for good in the universe, because flows affect all of us. When any one person stops their flows, the rest of the flows of the universe are impacted. So, it's not selfish to get and be as big as you can be in the development of your business and your organization. It is actually the absolute perfect application of all of these laws of prosperity from the spiritual basis. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Doc Fran. Woohoo! Welcome to the leader here. I love it. I love it, and I do want to learn more from you about that, and to really support. To me, there is a moment where I had a click, from what you are saying right now, from supporting the people and supporting the people. You cannot change anybody here, So at one point, I remember I took the decision and said, okay, with them or without them, Okay, I keep going here. Okay, and that propelled me to, you know, a bigger horizon, you know, of reaching out, more free time to really, you know, talk with the people that they have the vision inside or whatever. So I do want to learn a lot more about organization, Doc Frank, and how to nurture that in an empowering way. So I really take what you are saying here about being the model and the inspiration and the energy enough. You know, if I can hold it, I can inspire people to hold that too. So thank you for that. And we are really at the end of the hour here. We had some messages from the other side that they are very grateful about this conversation. So I want to say you are very welcome. And if you feel like coming on the panel here and to be part of this live engagement that we talk and we share and we support each other, don't doubt to write an email to Arne, A-R-N-E, at unlimitednetwork.com, and then he will send you a special link for you to be here with us live, and then we can always receive your gifts and you can share your wisdom. So thank you, everyone. I love also one thing that I would like to acknowledge that I said in the beginning is what you said, Doc Frank, about that beautiful tool that Catherine Ponder gave us, that every time that you pay, I don't know, $40 in the grocery store, you know, to mentally, that really helped me, and that's what I'm sharing it with you, to mentally say, oh, thank you so much, you know, 10 times this is coming back to me, and to open my mind to $400, you know, or I, you know, buy a ticket or whatever, $1,000, 10 times it's coming to me, $10,000 are coming to me, and that was such a joy, just to change my mind, you know, to be open to, instead of losing something, to know that I'm investing, that, you know, the universe is bringing back, multiplied by 10. So I keep doing that every time that I do anything, from gas to groceries to the HOA here in where we live. Anything that I put out in my mind right now, I'm playing with. Oh, great! You know, 10 times this is coming back. So I love to offer you that, to remind you that little tool that we studied with Catherine Ponder, and also I would love to inspire all of you. Take this week to bring awareness, if you are in debt for whatever reason, to check what kind of debt, you know, that is, if it's a burden, or if you know that you, instead of debt, I call it investment. Sometimes, you know, you can make money to work for you, and it's nice to have a loan, you know, something like that, but work on you, you know, like this is the beauty about financial situation. You can see in the mirror where you are at, you know, so keep doing that inner work to release all these shadows and to apply all these powerful thoughts that we have here about our divine self that Catherine is guiding us to do. And with this, we complete our mastermind today. Thank you, everyone, the ones that we are here, of course, and the ones that you are on the other side too. And remember that we, yes?
I do want to have one last comment, if you don't mind, when you're done.
Yes, no, go for it. And then I close. I just want to say that that we can see this video, this recording, the entire week under unlimitednetwork.com/master-mind. So you can always listen, because what's deep today. So yes, Doc Frank, go for it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry to jump in, but you stimulated something that I think is important. And you know, many of us were on the call with the owner and CEO of our company, iGrow Network, on Wednesday night, and that's going to be a weekly call. We actually had an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, as the leaders with the top leadership of this company. And in terms of expansion and understanding how rapidly abundance can flow to us through this marvelous vehicle, when he was talking about 1 million people at 25 cents a piece, and he calculated that out as $25,000 a month in income. Well, the reality is, folks, that it's $250,000 a month in income. Because if it was $1 a person, it would be $1 million a month, right? Well, 25 cents is 25% of 100. So just think about the abundance here as we, as leaders, go out and literally begin to create flows in the influx of users, free users on that social media interface. When we get 1 million free users down through 9 levels, which is not difficult to do mathematically at all, at a penny a piece a month, we're looking at $100,000 a month income from that single flow. So does God create enormous and abundant flows? whoa, you better believe it, because we haven't even seen the beginning of how magnificent the abundance of this universe is. The second thing is, those of you that are on the sideline watching, I really appreciate and applaud you. And I have a challenge to you to do, and that is to get to the people you've brought into your team, if you have Down Team with you, and not by email, not by Skype, not by passive means, not by Facebook Messenger. Call them up on the phone and invite them and indicate to them how powerful it is to be here on Saturday morning and actually hear this training from the minds of this mastermind. That's number one. Number two is our call with corporate leadership is every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. So it's only going to be a half-hour call going forward. So from 9 to 9:30, if you do nothing else for yourself, put it in your calendar and make it a point to be on that call. There will be a link sent out every week to be on that call. Plug in to your business, to your friends, to your leaders, to your mastermind, and even by osmosis, you'll find that change can happen for you. Thanks, everybody. Back to you, Monica.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Doc Fran. And with these super high words and the excitement of, I mean, I just want to share the gratitude that I have for the company that we are today. I mean, you know, I always sense inside myself that the old consciousness of working hard and sweating, you know, like blah, blah, the old programming, you know, that we all are waking up from, is gone, you know, and now I can see these businesses that are fun, that are, the other day I was talking with a friend about social media, and we say, well, you know, but I don't know, you know, like, so what do you share? And I said, you share yourself. You know, what better gift than that? I mean, you have an impact into the world. You know, social media is helping us to don't have frontiers. To, I don't know, I'm getting invitations from people from Russia. Or, you know, like, wow, and they love the post, and not everybody click like or don't like or whatever, but here and there I receive messages about, thank you so much, you're a great inspiration. Well, that's what I love to be, you know. So I love to be part of a company that is right on in evolution of consciousness here, making, you know, the easy, like when you were talking, Doc Frank, about the, you know, the 25 cents, 1 cent, you know, like whatever. It's like, it's not about the amount of money, it's about the amount of people that we are ready to live in an easy way. And we have the business vehicle for that. So I just feel privileged and a lot of gratitude for it. So thank you, everyone. Next Saturday we are going to be here. That's going to be, let's see, the August 15th, so middle of August here, and we will keep going with Catherine Ponder. We are almost finishing, but again, we finished the book, and I would love to have one entire session to go chapter by chapter to really integrate this avenue. So besides that, thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful week full of consciousness and empowering. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for your support.
Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful day, weekend. Bye-bye.
I learned a lot. Thank you so much. Thank you.